Hello, thank you for registering for USD Career Fair this spring. We're really excited to have you join us. Today we have Susanna from Handshake here to talk you through how to set up your group and one-on-one sessions for your career fair schedule and some other great tips for when you're building your schedule. So thank you so much, Susanna, for being here, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you, Kelsey. Glad to be here. So I'm going to pick it up at the point where I've registered and my registration has just been approved. So now I need to go back in and find my registration. And you can do this under the fairs section. And a great shortcut is to go ahead and use this show registered only. That's going to start to narrow down the list of fairs that you're actually registered for. But then to further narrow it down, you can use any of these filters. And if you know the school in question, I think this is the fastest way to get to the fair. So now I'm looking just at this school's fairs and the ones that I'm already registered for. So in this case, we're going to talk about our spring 2022 fair. So I can see that I'm registered, but if I go to this schedule tab, I can see yet that I do not have a schedule. Creating your schedule is a very crucial part of the registration process because until your schedule is created, there is nothing for students to sign up for. They can't sign up for group sessions or one-on-ones with you. So I recommend you make your schedule right away as soon as you're approved. To start that process, I'm going to click Add Sessions, and this is going to take me through this create schedule process here. The first thing it's going to ask me to do is to add my team members. So which colleagues are coming to the fair with me? I'm going to go ahead and add myself. I'm going to be attending this fair. And then I'm going to grab a couple of my colleagues who I know are going to be joining with me. From this page, you can also add additional team members who aren't yet Handshake account owners. So what I mean here is you can use this copy invite link and share this link with your colleagues if they need to create a Handshake account, or you can even add teammates manually, fill out some contact information for that teammate, and that will trigger an invitation. Anyone who's going to participate in the fair needs to have an active Handshake user account. So just because you've added them here, they still need to go in and accept and activate that Handshake user account before they'll be able to join the fair. You can do that here on this first step of the schedule creation process, and you can also add teammates at a later point as well. So for today's fair, it's just going to be the three of us. So I've selected my teammates. I'm going to scroll down and go ahead and click Add Team. Next, it's going to prompt me to build any group sessions. So I do want to host a group session. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to use the Handshake video platform. You have the choice to use an external video platform, which will just put in your own Zoom, WebEx, Teams, etc. link. This is a good choice if you know that your company has firewalls that might prevent the Handshake video platform from working. So if you know that Teams is acceptable at your office, you might want to go ahead and put in your Teams link, choose external video platform. In this case, I'm going to use the Handshake video. That is going to give me a 50-person limit per session, and that is 50-person, not just students. So if all of my colleagues are coming, then that does mean if I brought my 3 colleagues, there would only be space for 47 students in this Handshake video platform. Now we're seeing here the option to record this session, but note that this is a feature that's only available to premium employers on Handshake. So most likely you won't see this question at all. I'm going to give my group session a title and a description. And this is a great place if you are hiring for different roles, you're having more than one group session, you might want to indicate in the title and the description what each group session is about so that students can make the informed choice about which group session is most appropriate for them to attend. Then you'll choose how many people from your team are hosting this event. So in this case, I'll go ahead and say that 2 of us are going to host, and then I'm going to pick a time. So group sessions by default are 30 minutes apiece. So I'll go ahead and add group session at the very end of the day for this fair. If I wanted to add another group session, I could do that here. This would open up some details where I would add the title, description, who's going to be attending, and how long. In this case, I'm happy with just having one group session. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm my session. And now it's going to ask me which team members are leading this session. So you remember I said 2 team members were going to be leading it. So it says select up to 2 team members. In this case, I'm going to lead a session and my colleague Abigail is going to be joining me. So this group session will now be on both of our schedules. I will assign team, and now I've created my group session. Next, we're moving on to the one-on-one session process. So one-on-one sessions are 10 minutes individual meetings with one recruiter and one student. And if you would like your teammates to have one-on-one sessions in their schedule, you simply click add one-on-one session. And then it's going to ask you if you want to add requirements to your session. So if I say no, this means that any student who registers for the fair, if I have one-on-one availability, they can sign up. If I want to add some requirements, I can click yes. And we'll see what this process looks like. I'll click add requirements. Now I have some choices to make. Let's say that I am recruiting for some pretty specific positions, and I know that I need particular school years, graduation dates, or majors. I could indicate that here. So let's say in this case, I'm doing full-time hiring, so I really only want to talk to seniors and alumni. You do have the choice to pause your qualifications 48 hours before the start date, and you'll see that automatically it's going to say yes, pause these qualifications. Again, if you have really specific hiring requirements and you need those qualifications in place, you might want to say, no, keep my qualifications in place the whole time. However, I definitely urge caution when applying these qualifications. You can inadvertently weed out some really good candidates by nature of these qualifications. So for example, if I enter a graduation date and a student graduated maybe the semester before, I might miss that student, even though they're still a great fit for me. So just be very thoughtful about using qualifications. If you're not sure, I would err on the side of not using them, and also leveraging this ability to pause the qualifications 48 hours before the event. What that will do is 2 days before the event, your qualifications will disappear. And that way students can then, any student who wasn't able to see your session before will now be able to see and sign up for your session. I'm going to click add. And now we can see that my sessions, my one-on-one sessions have been created, and they've been created with qualifications. If I want to give one-on-one sessions to my colleagues, I'm going to go ahead and add that here. It's going to ask me again if I want to add any requirements. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and say no, and I'll just schedule the sessions. And again, for my colleague, I'll add one-on-one sessions. I'll say no requirements, and I'll schedule them. So now I can see all 3 of us have one-on-one sessions added, and I am the only one who has qualifications applied to my sessions. I'm going to hit assign team, and now we're going to review what we've made. So here you can see the group session. I created just one group session, and we can see the team members who are attending that one group session. And then I can see one-on-one sessions for everyone here and with qualifications. If I need to go back and make changes, I can do that using the back button. I can go back in and change any part of this. So for example, let's say I want to add another group session. I could go all the way back to group sessions and add that additional session. I'm going to do that here because I do want to call something out. I'm going to give a title and a description. This time I'll have just one person attending. You'll notice that I can't do 2 overlapping sessions. So that 1:40 time slot is already filled. Your team can only have one group session at a time. So if I wanted Adrian, my 3rd team member, to host a group session as well, he would not be able to do it at the same time that Abigail and I are hosting a group session. They cannot be concurrent. So I'm going to go ahead and add an earlier time. I'll click confirm session. I'll assign just Adrian to this one. You see here it says select up to one team member. I'll assign team. And now the rest of this looks good. I'm reviewing my progress. Now I have my 2 group sessions and my one-on-one sessions. I'm going to confirm my schedule and invite my team. So now it's going to take just a moment, but if I hit reload, we should see my schedule populate. So now we've created our schedule, and we're going to talk a little bit about editing our schedule. The first thing I want to call out is this. On the schedule page, I can see I'm Susanna, I'm looking at my schedule. But if I want to look at my colleagues' schedules, I can use this drop-down menu to do that. Now, Abigail will have received an email as soon as I created these schedules, inviting her to claim her schedule. And I can see here that Abigail has not yet acted on that email to claim her schedule. This is a really important step. Abigail needs to go in and claim their schedule before any students would be able to sign up with Abigail. So you tell your teammates to look out for that email, inviting them to claim their schedule. If they miss the email, all they need to do is log into Handshake, navigate to the fair, navigate to their schedule page, and they'll see a pop-up window here asking them to claim their schedule. And they can claim their schedule in that way if they miss that email. So once my teammates have claimed their schedule, I would no longer see this warning at the top of the page. I'm going to go back to my own schedule, and I want to talk about some of the changes that we can make. So I can see here all of my 10-minute one-on-one sessions that are open waiting for students to sign up. If I decide that I need to be away from the fair for a little bit, let's say I want to take a lunch break, maybe I want to block off half an hour. Here's how I would do that. Next to each 10-minute session, you'll see these 3 dots. And if I click here, I have the option to mark as busy. And I'm going to go ahead and do that for this half an hour and give myself a lunch break. This is really important day of fair because students can sign up for sessions all the way to the end of the fair. So if I am committed to being to this fair, I have these open slots, I should expect that students might sign up with me last minute. If I need to step away and I don't want to have a session, it's really important that you go in and mark that time as busy. Otherwise, do expect that all of a sudden a student might sign up for this open slot right up until the start time. So that's how we mark ourselves as busy. The next thing I want to call out is if we need to switch to an external video. So you might remember when I set this up, I set it up using the Handshake video platform. Let's say I find out that my company's firewall is preventing that Handshake video, or for some reason, let's say I want to record these sessions. Those would be reasons why I might end up switching to an externally hosted video. And you can do this right until the start time of that slot. All you do is this, 3 dots, switch to externally hosted video. I would add my Zoom link here. Click add link. And now I can see that this session has an external link. And you'll notice once I've made this change, I cannot change it back to Handshake video. So it's a one-way switch. Once we move from Handshake video to an external platform, we're not able to turn it back to Handshake video. So think of that as a day of option should you run into any issues with the Handshake video platform. Next, I want to call out these 2 options here to help you further edit your schedule. So the first thing you could do is manage team. So I had mentioned before there was a way to invite your teammates when you're creating the schedule, but you can also invite teammates up until right before the fair. And you can do that here. Under manage team, you can add a teammate here. This option will disappear shortly before the fair starts because teammates do need to have time to claim their Handshake account and their schedule. But as the fair is approaching, leading up to the fair, in the days leading up to the fair, you can add a teammate from here. And this will give you the option to select a teammate. We can see all of my current employees who have active accounts. I can create a one-on-one schedule for them right here. And I can add a group session. I can add them to a group session if I so desire. So I can add a teammate from here. The other thing I can do is remove or transfer a schedule. So let's say I find out that Abigail is no longer able to attend. I am able to remove Abigail's schedule entirely. This would cancel any meetings that Abigail has set up with students. Or I have the option to transfer Abigail's entire schedule to a colleague. So you'll notice that I need to transfer it to someone who, one, already has an active Handshake account, and two, doesn't have a schedule of their own. So this is an important call out because what we are doing here is taking Abigail's entire schedule for the day and transferring it to someone else. You can't mix and match. You can't move a couple of students from one recruiter to another. All you're able to do is take the entire schedule from one person and give that full schedule to another person. And this is how I do it. This is how I would do it. So I'll go ahead and hit transfer. And now we should see that this schedule has been successfully transferred to Layla. So I no longer see Abigail as one of my participants. Instead, I see Layla. And again, if I look at Layla's schedule, I can see they have not yet claimed their schedule. I'm going to go back to my schedule. And I want to call out this Manage Sessions tab as well, because there are some changes that you can make here. You can create a new group or one-on-one schedule here. So let's say my one-on-one slots, I want to have a greater impact. I want to switch that and do a group session instead. I can create a new group schedule. I will choose the Handshake video platform. I will give it a title, and a description, and I will have just one person from my team hosting. Oops, not -16, just one. And then again, I can't do overlapping group sessions, so I have to choose a different time. And then I will add the one teammate who will be attending. So in this case, we will give it to Layla. I will create, and now I have a new group session created under Layla's schedule. I can also add a new one-on-one schedule from here. I can also edit my pre-existing group and one-on-one schedules. So let's see what that looks like. So for my group session, first it's going to prompt me to select which group session I want to change. I will select this one. And now here are some of the choices I can make. This is where, if I needed to change my group schedule to an external video, this is where I would do that. So again, day of the fair, let's say you're encountering a firewall, you need to make a switch in your video provider. You would do that for a group session here under the edit group session details. You can update the title or the description, and this is also where you can change how many of your staff members are attending this group session. So let's say in this case, I want more staff members to join for this group session. I'm going to go ahead and increase this number and add a third person here. So I will go ahead and add another person and confirm. And now I've invited another member of my team to join us for that group session. And to edit the one-on-one schedule here, this is where we would go in and change those qualifications. So this is really helpful day of. If you find you're not getting enough signups, it could be that your qualifications are preventing great students from being able to see and sign up for your session. And so we could go in to our qualifications and we could change our qualifications here. We hit update qualifications, and that will update the qualifications for my schedule here. So there are lots of changes that you can make up to and during the fair, and you do that from your schedule page. When you're actually participating in the fair, you will see students sign up. You will see students' names here for the slot that they signed up for, and this is where we will launch the video and participate in the fair. So I'm going to very quickly sign up as a student and show you what that looks like. I'm going to switch to a student account. so we can see what the process looks like for students. I'll find this event. And now we should be able to see some of the sessions I've just created. So we can see my one-on-one schedule, and we can see the group sessions that I've created. You'll note when I open up this tab, only my sessions are here. So those colleagues for whom I created schedules, they haven't claimed their schedules yet, so they're not visible to students. Really, really important that your colleagues go in and claim their schedules. But I've claimed my schedule, so the student is able to sign up with me. So I'm going to go ahead and select this time, confirm, and now I'm all set to meet with an employer. And the student, now we can see on their schedule, you'll see something very similar. They'll be able to join this session. So let's switch back to the employer view and take a look at that from the employer perspective. So I'm going back into my fair, back to my schedule page. And now on my schedule, we should see this student has signed up with me at this time. So what I'm seeing here is the ability to launch a video player. This is the Handshake video session. If I were using a Zoom or WebEx, etc., it would look very similar. I would still join from right here. It would just say launch external video. But in this case, I can tell it's Handshake video, and this button will be available to me 1 hour before this meeting. So an hour before your time slot with a student, you should see the launch video set button. And this is great because you can go in and test it. So let's see what that looks like. I'll click launch video. It's going to open up a new tab. And here's where I can go in. I can test out my video. I can test out my audio. And if I'm having audio or video troubles, I can change my settings here, or even report a problem to the Handshake support staff here. When everything looks good, then I'm going to click join now, and that will actually take me into the session with the student. When I'm done, I simply leave that session, and it will take me back to my schedule page, where I would move on to my next appointment, launch from here, meet with my student, and so on and so on. So you're actually managing your day from this schedule tab in the fair. One more thing I want to show you, which is if we go over to the RSVP section, this is where we're able to see some information about the students that have signed up with us. So if we have a lot of signups, we can use these filters to narrow down and see different views, students who've signed up for group sessions or signed up with my colleagues, etc. In this case, so far only one student has signed up. And here's what I can see. I can see the student. I can see some information about them at a glance. And you might be wondering, how can I see their resume? So what I need to do in this case is click this button here next to the student's name. And then I'm going to get some more options up here. I can message the student right from here. And if a student has signed up for a session with you, messaging that student will not count towards your 100 message limit. Once the student is RSVP'd with you, you're able to message them as much as you like. You can label the student right from here, and probably what you're looking for, this is where you can download their resume. So if they have a publicly available resume in Handshake, this is where you would find it. You go to your RSVPs section, you click the button next to their name, or if you have multiple people in the list, you can click this top button to grab them all. Under more, this is where we download resumes. So once you are doing your follow-up with students, you want to see who's actually attended your sessions, you want to access those resumes, carry on those conversations. That is all found under the RSVPs tab. So you manage your day under schedule, and you manage your follow-up under RSVPs. One more tip to call out for you. At any point, if you need help, your school that is hosting this career fair may be offering a virtual help room. You can launch that link from right here. This will open up their Zoom room. You can go in and get technical assistance. You can also do some troubleshooting on your own by clicking Test Handshake Video. And what that will do is open up a test session. You can add a colleague to test with you, or you can just click Create Test Session yourself. It will give you a link, and it'll take you to this page that we've seen before where you can go in, test your microphone, test your camera, etc. And when you're done, you can close out of that and go back to your fair. I hope this has been helpful.
Thank you, Susanna. We really appreciate it. And a few reminders from USD. First off, we will have that Zoom help room that Susanna just talked about. So if you have trouble on the day of the fair, you can definitely log in there and we'll be there to support. Also, most students sign up for group and one-on-one sessions the last few days before the fair, even the morning of the fair. So we highly recommend that you have your schedule set up a week prior to the fair, but please do note that you may not get traffic on it until a few days before. We support our students and we always encourage them to sign up early, but they will continue to sign up when they desire. So please note that as well. And we also really encourage you to keep your requirements or your qualifications for your one-on-one appointments as open as possible so that you don't miss any of those great students that Susanna talked about. So please keep them as limited as you can. And we highly encourage you to do that 48-hour qualification turnoff setting so that you don't miss those great students too. So that is all from us. If you have any other specific questions, please feel free to email us and we're happy to support you. But thank you so much for watching this video and we hope you enjoy the fair.